Fantastic. Thanks everybody for joining tonight. If you could double check that everyone's muted, we will get started. So my name is Nick. I'm a student at the Indiana University School of Medicine. I am the creator of the account at FuturePedsRes, and we are super excited to welcome everybody here tonight for this amazing New York regional session.
And my name is Makela Neelakantan, and I am the co-creator of FuturePedsRes. I'm a fourth-year medical student at WMed, and like Nick said, I'm so excited to be here, meeting you all. And with that, let's begin.
Great, wonderful. So I would like to welcome our phenomenal APPD leadership, Dr. Frona, to speak.
Good evening. I'm John Frona. I'm the Vice Chair for Education at the University of Wisconsin and a member of the Association of Pediatric Program Directors Board. Our president, Becky Blankenberg, who's at Stanford, may or may not be on the call. She was having some internet trouble in her neighborhood, so she apologizes that she couldn't be here. But we're really excited that you guys all chose to join us, and some of you may have joined us for the other kickoff sessions or the Western region breakout. And this will be another great, very engaging session with some awesome programs in New York. So thanks for joining us.
Wonderful. And speaking of Dr. Blankenberg, we want to thank her as well for collaborating with us throughout this process. So Dr. Blankenberg is the president of the Association of Pediatric Program Directors. I'm not sure if she's here or not, but we just wanted to say thank you.
Awesome. All right, so let us briefly talk about our schedule. We have this introduction. We will soon hear from some New York APPD regional leadership, briefly about the region as a whole. Then we will transition to our main event, which is our breakout room sessions, in which case you will hear directly from the amazing programs within the New York region. You'll hear a little bit specifically from each program. And then the breakout room will end with live Q&A, as we have done with most of our sessions. After that hour, starting at 9 o'clock, we will bring everyone back here and re-scramble you for the resident-only after-hour portion.
Excellent. So with every hashtag PedsMatch21 webinar series, we always want to discuss our goals, which is essentially to provide pediatric applicants with, number one, foundational knowledge surrounding this crazy virtual interview season. Number two, provide well-rounded insight into the benefits of programs by region. So like Nick mentioned, tonight is the New York region. And New Jersey. And number three, provide devoted time for live question and answer sessions. We know it's tricky during the season, and we really thank all of you and all of our programs for coming tonight to get to know each other more and yeah, provide a great space for answering some frequently asked questions.
Okay, so there are two primary ways in which we ask the applicants to engage throughout the session. The first being is that we will be checking Twitter. If you have Twitter, or if you don't, you are still able to follow along the conversation by going to twitter.com, searching in the search bar with our unique hashtag, which is in the bottom left of your screen, hashtag FPRWebinar. If you click the latest tab, you will see a live tweet stream of everybody's question, answers, and interactions on Twitter.
And on the Zoom side of things, it's a similar process, but you'll just be using the Zoom Q&A section, asking your questions through that, and our lovely resident moderators will be collating these questions to be able to be answered during the live Q&A section.
Here's an example of what it looks like on Twitter, searching the hashtag, clicking the button that says latest, and then you'll see all the conversation.
And with that, we welcome our New York APPD leadership. So Dr. Stephen Barone and Dr. Karen Gellin. We'd like you to introduce yourselves and then we can start with your intro portion.
Okay. So my name is Steve Barone. I'm the Vice Chair and Pediatric Program Director at Cohen Children's Medical Center of New York, and I'm the Chair of the New York region.
And I'm Karen Gellin. I'm the Program Director at the University of Rochester, and I am here this part to represent the upstate programs.
So to get started, here is an infographic of the New York, New Jersey region. It's not as large as some of the other regions, but it's certainly packed with a number of terrific programs. I think somewhere between 35 and 40. And as I was told at the beginning of the call, it is definitely the best region. Do you have the map of programs of the downstate area? So this is just the downstate area. You can see the number of programs that are in New York City proper, the 5 boroughs of Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island, and the Bronx. Then you go further out, you have programs in Nassau and Suffolk counties on Long Island. You turn a little bit to the west, you have programs in New Jersey as you go west and south towards the Philadelphia area. You have a couple of programs up in the Westchester area. And then, not shown on the screen, but Karen will represent well, there are a number of programs up in the Syracuse, Buffalo, Rochester, Albany area. If you look at the kind of highlights of the area, you know, you can practice in an urban environment, a suburban environment, or more of a rural environment, depending on what your interests are. I think I always counsel students when they look at programs, the first thing is to find a regional location that makes sense in regards to your family and such, and then try to find the program within that region that fits your learning style. And certainly in the New York, New Jersey region, there's a lot of different programs that fit a lot of different learning styles. Traditionally, I say a lot of the students apply along what I call the Amtrak corridor. They apply down in Washington, Philly, up to New Jersey, New York, up into Connecticut and Boston area. And then we have students that I think are more interested in the upstate programs, and they might apply across the New York upstate region and then into the Massachusetts regions. Those are the typical students that apply.
Can I add one thing, Steve?
Thanks, Karen.
The upstate programs, many of that includes kind of programs in Ohio and Pennsylvania and kind of like the bigger region around that area if you're often applying to the upstate programs.
Right. So let me turn it over, Karen, and let her talk about some of the different types of programs you're going to apply to.
Yeah, so, you know, I think the key thing is there's various sizes of programs and there's various locations for programs, right? So you can see on this slide, right, the types of different learning environments from large children's hospitals all the way to community hospitals. And there's even some programs that have multiple of these types of training environments. And so that's something that you can look out for as well when you're looking at different programs.
I think, if you go to the next slide, I think one of the major benefits of practicing in New York, New Jersey region is diversity. I think you hear about that in a number of different regions, but truly New York is the most diverse. Queens County is the most diverse county in the United States if you look at Census Bureau data in number of languages spoken. So it may actually be the most diverse county in the world. And right close to that are counties of boroughs of Brooklyn and Queens. So very diverse counties. And if you look in upstate New York, and I was kind of naive to that, but there's a huge diverse population, which I learned about actually when I was looking at colleges with my children. And I really realized that it's not a homogeneous population in our northern colleagues. Do you want to comment on that, Karen?
Yeah, so I think really in all 4 of those major cities that we talked about that have PEDS programs, there are actually quite large Black and Latinx populations. And in addition to that, there's some special populations. So for instance, New York State is the 4th largest state that accepts refugees, but 90% of those refugees in New York State settle in upstate. And so there's a very large refugee population really in all 4 of those cities. And there's also things like a Mennonite population close to some of those areas as well. So in terms of unique populations, you'll see that throughout our region.
Yeah, so it's hard to think of our region as homogeneous. If you just look at the downstate region, if you go to Manhattan program, you're in the pinnacle of an urban environment. And if you head out east into Long Island, at the end of Long Island, there are vineyards and cornfields and pumpkin patches. And similarly, if you head north, you go through the urban environments of the Bronx, and then you get into more suburban Westchester, and then more rural around the cities in upstate. If you head south to New Jersey, you have a lot of urban programs in northern New Jersey, and then as you head south, you'll have more suburban programs. So you'll have a choice of environments you like to practice, whether it be urban, suburban, or rural.
You could just go to upstate, one of the upstate programs, and then you'll get all 3.
Right, because the upstate programs, although the center is urban, they have huge catchment areas, right? Because they're the only games in town. Right. So, John, I think we're kind of done with our introductory remarks. I'll be happy if you give you some time back. It's close to 8:15, and I think we've hit the mark for your breakout sessions.
Wonderful. Thanks so much to the both of you for that. So as we transition to our breakout session segment, I would like to just cover very quickly a few things. You can add your questions again via Twitter or the chat box throughout. One note is that the moderators will not be responding directly to your questions within the chat box as a way to streamline and keep it clean, but they will be bringing them up during the live question and answer session during the last 15 minutes. We do ask that you prioritize program-specific questions. General virtual season questions you can review during the links of the Kickoff 1 and Kickoff 2 webinars. Again, all breakout rooms are being recorded tonight and will be uploaded to our FPR information folder as quickly as possible. So with that, we're going to begin dispersing everybody to the breakout rooms. Give us maybe a minute or 2 to get everyone set, and then we'll come around letting you know that we are good to go. Thanks so much. Everybody, thanks so much. We're pulling everyone back to this main room right now. If you are program leadership, we thank you so much for joining us. Now is the time that we will say our goodbyes to you. See you later. Thanks for joining us. And
Thank you so much.
Our applicants and residents on the call here for the resident after hours. Here's how we structured it last time. It's very informal. We will be dividing everybody here up among 25 different breakout rooms. So the resident to applicant ratio will be ideal. We have set aside until about 9:30, or I guess maybe 9:35-ish now, to give you time. And what we hope is you guys can all talk to the residents directly. What worked well last time is to just kind of do a couple quick icebreaker type things, like the best thing I did this past weekend was it gets people talking, and applicants, it's important for us to get used to turning ourselves on these virtual kind of interactions. So I think that was beneficial last time. So I think we are ready. Dr. Frona, if you want to start dividing us up, and then
yeah, maybe just talk for a couple more minutes. I just want to make sure I have at least one resident in each room.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll just plan on kind of concluding after about a half hour's time.
Maybe if any
you could mention about the do about the apply smart thing too if you want to talk about that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
so
that's a good idea.
if you haven't joined us on Twitter, there is a campaign that FuturePedsRes has begun. It's called the hashtag Apply Smart campaign for Peds Match 21. And the whole idea is it's a student-led initiative to try to prevent any over-application that is anticipated, particularly this virtual season. So the APPD's recommendations are listed. This document you're looking at now exists in our FPR informational folder, which can be found in our profile on Twitter and on Instagram. So I encourage you to look at it, to read through some of the details of it, and consider taking the pledge yourself. You can do so on Twitter or Instagram, and be sure to take a brief survey. We're trying to do the best overall for our fellow applicants this season, and we really believe in these recommendations. So if you have questions, you can let us know, but this does exist in the information folder, which is linked on our Twitter.
All right, it does look like we have 1 to 2 residents per room, so I will go ahead and send you guys out to those breakout rooms, and we'll check in with you in a little bit.